Arsenal 2, Brighton 0 in the Carabao Cup. And to be honest with you, before I start talking about Arsenal, I thought Brighton had a really good game. Yes, the game was 2-0 to Arsenal, but if I were a Brighton manager and if I were telling my team how to play against Arsenal, I would tell them to make life difficult for them, to press them, put pressure on them, make life difficult, make sure they can't get the pass off, really stay close to their players and make sure you create situations for them which is very uncomfortable for them and make it really tough for them in that way. And I think for Arsenal, they had their work cut out for them, especially when it came from playing out from the back, getting their passes forward. But overall, it was a catch-22 because it did make it an end-to-end game. Brighton had 17 shots and they had 6 on target, which was more compared to Arsenal's 13 shots and 5 on target. So you can really tell that Brighton had opportunities, but they just weren't able to finish them. And if they were able to finish them, then this game would be a lot different. However, Arsenal's defense got through. And look, throughout this game, we really have to talk about some of the things that were quite surprising from certain players. And to be honest with you, that I just say and get this out the way, Nwaneri, my God, that guy is fantastic. That guy played like he had to prove something. He played absolutely out of his skin today. He was everywhere across the entire pitch. I mean, he was making runs, he was dragging the ball forward, he was pinging the ball forward, and he was able to get a really good goal. He could have scored more than one goal today, but you know what? He scored. Well done to him, and he will really make life difficult moving forward if he continues to play like this, especially if Odegaard comes back into the team. And seeing Eze play on the wing, and it was very interesting because we've seen Eze play down the middle, and we were probably thinking that Eze will continue to play down the middle until Odegaard comes back, and then there will be some changes there. However, to see Eze on the wing, it really does allow Nwaneri to come down the middle and really change things up. And overall, Eze with that great assist to Nwaneri and Mikel Merino with that audacious back heel. One of the things that really surprised me about Mikel Merino was the fact that before this game he got the captain's armband, which is something that's very surprising to me. He's only been at the club for a year, but if you look at this entire squad, especially the first 11, other than probably Ben White, Mikel Merino is probably the player where you'd say, yeah, you probably might need to give the armband to him. But credit to him, he was good today. And that back heel, my God, I mean, he's looking like a real, I don't know, like I said, probably like leader on the pitch, maybe you'd argue. I mean, some of the things that he's been doing at Arsenal since he's come, especially up front and even in the midfielders to some degree, he's been doing really well. And whatever you've told Mourinho to do, especially from the management side, he's been doing that. So maybe in terms of that side of leadership, just doing whatever that needs to be done or putting the game on his back and just getting the goals where needed, he's been doing quite well in that regard. Overall, if we look at in that entire starting lineup, I know what you must be thinking before the game. Who the hell is Harriman and Noose? I mean, who is this random guy? And to be honest with you, that's the magic of the Carabao Cup. You want to see these youngsters, these reserve players that you've never ever heard of or seen before in your life, and you just want to see someone do something out of the ordinary or out of the blue. Probably guys like Lansbury, Bentner, Ali Adair, all of those guys that have played for Arsenal in the Carabao Cup have been able to score a goal in their debut or something like that. You know, even Nketiah to some degree. So overall, that's what you wanted to expect. And when you're a new player, especially on your debut, the main thing that you want to do is not stand out and not look out of place. And I thought Harriman was fine on the pitch. I think he was making good runs. I thought that he was fighting in the middle of the park. He was making some good passes here and there. He didn't look too out of place. However, I do think that with the chance that he had, especially at goal before he got hooked off, he should have dinked the ball. I think if he dinked it, then he would have scored. And in my opinion, he should have scored. But luckily, Saka was able to get the rebound and he was able to score. So credit to him. I thought that other players, especially in the team, MLS, I mean, the guy's balance and strength is absolutely unreal. Whenever players or other teams try to press Miles Lewis-Skelly, the way he's able to just literally be so press resistant, just dance around the other team and not have any single problems is quite a delight to see. So MLS has been it's just a revelation. And yes, he has tough competition, especially with Calafiori and maybe with Hincapié, which I'm going to talk about in a second. It's great to see that he's just really taking on his stride and he's really doing what he's doing. Now, on to Hincapié. You can tell that there's some good things about him. I thought the partnership between him and Mosquera was a bit iffy today. I thought communication was a bit off at certain points of the game. There were some misplaced passes across the entire team, but especially between those two, because if Brighton were better at their finishing, they would have been able to score, especially with the misplaced pass from Hincapié to Mosquera. However, what I will say with Hincapié, one of the good things that I like about him is the fact that when he does make a mistake, he works 2-3 times harder to make sure he corrects that mistake. And just the way that he's on the pitch, you you can tell he's like a South American defender. Like, he wears his heart on his sleeve, he's fighting for every ball, he's quite passionate, and I think that he'll have a big part to play this season, but he needs to play more games. And will he be able to compete against Gabriel Magalhaes, especially at this moment in time? I don't think so, because Gabriel Magalhaes has been absolutely immense. But I do think that, especially in these sorts of games, in the Carabao Cup and in the group stages of the Champions League and these sorts of things, he can play a really big part. And I think with him, he just needs to get more game time, especially with his injuries as well from the start of the season. He has been quite unlucky, but hell, even Marino last season had a similar situation, but you just need time to adapt. And I could say the same with Mosquera. With Hincapié, the connection, the partnership wasn't quite there, but when Gabriel Magalhaes came onto the pitch, things looked a lot more tidy. And especially with Ben White, who is probably on the entire pitch the most senior player, I thought maybe he would have got the captaincy, but that didn't happen, and he was taken off around the 60th to 70th minute. And I think that it is better compared to before in his previous games, but he still has a long way to go to get to the best Ben White that we all know that he can get to. Norgard, I think, was okay. Marino, we all said that. And I think one player that always wows me is Max Dowman. This guy played like a mini Messi, honestly. Like, the way he was driving the ball forward, being so fearless, trying to get into those spaces and really taking players on. He was really killing their fullback. I mean, why he hasn't been able to score a goal, God knows, but he has been doing really well. And to be honest with you, if I were to look throughout the entire game, I thought with Mikel Arteta, the substitutions he did was the right decision, because it was very end-to-end. Brighton had more chances, and we just need to see the game through. It was around 60 to 70 minutes. The players on the pitch did their part, the Ezes and Dalmans and whatever, and they just needed to see out the game. It was good for Hincapié to get his minutes, but Gabriel Magalhaes and Timber coming on the pitch really shored up the defense, and we've seen how much of an impact those two can make, especially for the rest of the team, because it just creates that structure. I think throughout the game, it was very expansive, it was very fluid. Players were mixing and mucking about between different positions and really getting too close to each other, which is weird, because in Arsenal you always see players very structured and very rigid, and you know where everyone sort of stands and where they're meant to be. So to see this, it felt like watching players play in the park and not have too much of a care in the world, because the way these guys were playing, it just felt like Arsenal were going to win, and they were just really relaxed about it. And I think they need to be a little bit more structured and relaxedness, not, I won't say relaxedness, but more, I don't know, structure in that way, just a bit more discipline, I think is the word to put it. But overall, Saka came on, scored the goal, does what he usually does, and I think the good thing is that Gyökeres and a lot of other players were able to get a rest, which is a fantastic thing, because especially with Gyökeres, he's played so many games this season, and maybe he just needed that little rest so he can be better for the upcoming game that is going to be on the weekend in the Premier League. So overall, fantastic result against Brighton at home. Nwaneri has been absolutely immense, and I think he does have his name in the hat for the game in the weekend, so you never really know. But overall, that's my thoughts on Arsenal versus Brighton. What a fantastic game, great performances all around, very end-to-end, very quite nervy at certain stages. It felt like a bit of the old days, especially with Wenger, but you know what, these things happen. Anyhow, that's it for me. Please like and subscribe, and hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.